Plus, a tech-driven wealth management platform in 2016. At Ascent Plus, they focus on building investment dashboards and automation tools for financial advisors. So yes, to welcome him, can I request Mr. A.S. Muralidharan to kindly join us? Put your hands together, please. Vikas, kindly take the center stage.
So I'm too dependent on the tech, so I think until my presentation comes up, I may not have too much to say. I think this itself is a negative of having too much dependency on tech, right? So this is in fact something I'm going to talk about today, why tech alone will not be able to, help expand the mutual fund ecosystem in India. Fortunately or unfortunately, I myself became an example in the beginning of my talk. So firstly, being here is like a very special moment. So I would like to thank the IFPA team for having me here, for inviting me to share my thoughts on how the industry is progressing a bit, and more importantly, the topic I'm given today to speak on, which is leverage technology to scale, right? So ironically, when I graduated from IIT Madras, this was in 2016, in this very campus, I did a 6-month internship during my last year in college. I was in mechanical engineering. At the end of 6 months of a very intense internship, I decided mechanical engineering is not for me at all, and then quit and then became an MFD. So I think there was a very it's a unique relationship I have here with IIT Madras Research Park as well as IFPA, because the moment I quit and when I came out, I was a very young MFD. I did not have much of a knowledge about the industry as such. So the very first meeting I attended back then in 2016-17 was an IFPA knowledge event. I believe it happened in Raj Park in Alvarpet, I still remember. So very happy to see that the IFPA team continues to very consistently contribute towards the MFD's knowledge enhancement, and so just happy to be here today. Just a second. Okay, so today my topic is leverage technology to scale. So prior to getting into the technology part of it, so I thought I will share some of my views on what do we feel as a company, or maybe as a personally, what do I see is happening in the mutual fund industry overall, right? Because one of the questions that I get asked during my travel too is, how are we having a certain amount of conviction that not only that mutual fund industry will develop, but within the mutual fund industry, mutual fund distributors continue to play a very significant role, right? So I thought I will share some of the data points that has helped me and our team build that conviction, and can probably give a zoomed out picture to the MFDs here today as well. So I'll start off with that. So firstly, a very simple snapshot of the Indian mutual funds industry. So all of us know that the penetration levels in mutual funds are not very high in India, especially compared to global peers, where, as you can see, in US about 57% of the population are investing in mutual funds in one way or the other, right? And in Europe the number might be lesser, but it's still 14%, and in Asia Pacific the average is around 11%. It might be shocking for a lot of people to know that despite having almost 5.5 crore investors today, that's literally just about 3.5 to 3.6% penetration of mutual funds in Indian population. The overall market for mutual fund investors is much larger, right? Say if you look at maybe one of the fantasy betting platforms, say Dream11, a lot of you might have seen advertisements coming in during IPL. A platform like that has about 20 crore users, right? So it is quite shocking for many to understand that a product as regulated as mutual funds, which has given such predictable returns, which is very professionally managed, and where you need not have to worry about people just running away with the money, right? Which unfortunately happens in a lot of cities in India. Despite all of this, a mutual fund penetration number of users is just 25% of a fantasy betting platform, right? That number of investors The data shows early 2024 there were 4.5 crore investors. As we speak today, there are 5.5 crore unique investors, and it's expected that the industry can easily add another 20 to 21 crore of fresh investors in the next 20 years. Right? That just shows the kind of volume of mutual fund unique investors that are going to come in, and definitely MFDs can play a very significant role if they are positioned well to be able to cater to the new investors coming in. And what was also very heartening to note is for this kind of penetration to happen and for financial awareness to increase, it was also mentioned that the number of active mutual fund distributors and advisors, so that could include RIA, will have to be 10 lakhs. So today, if you look at the numbers, the ARN count might be about 3.1, 3.2 lakh. But if you look at the MFDs who are active and have an AUM, it's just about 1.6 lakh, which means there's almost a potential of another 8 to 8.5 lakh of fresh MFDs to come in to be able to contribute to the Viksit Bharat mission. And although RIAs also will form a small part of it, I am a firm believer that in a country like India, where financial awareness and penetration is still quite low, it's going to be extremely difficult to convince a retail customer to pay a fee in advance, right? So RIAs will continue to exist, but they might form a very small part of the 10 lakh number here. So which means the majority of the number is going to come from mutual fund distributors. And then mobile or maybe a website, that is all that was available back then to be able to use in technology, right? So how does it used to work? So CAMS and KFintech used to send the reverse feeds. MFDs will have a software that just takes the reverse feed in Excel and showcases it to the client that, hey, look, this is your portfolio performance. So until then, clients did not really have a way to track their investments at all, except physical account statements. So this was a very massive way in which technology enabled MFDs. But very quickly, technology did not just stop there. From just providing reporting solutions, very quickly moved on to enabling client transactions. So KYC started becoming online, the mandate started becoming online, so no longer did you have to courier a form and then wait for 3-4 days for units to get allocated. Check got replaced by net banking got replaced by UPI. That was the trend in the technology improvement between 2018 to 2024. But today, if we just take a step back and see where has technology evolved, it is able to help MFDs not just in portfolio reporting and client transactions, but it is playing a huge role in simply making the MFDs much more productive, right? So this is something that I could see in the last year and a half, because as we continued interacting with a lot of younger MFDs, the way they're using technology to grow their business is completely different from what even I could see then, right? So in a sense, I have become more of an MFD and less of a technologist. So what we decided to do is I wanted to meet about 10 to 15 MFDs across the country who are less than 30 years of age and who are growing their business very aggressively, simply to understand what is it that they are doing differently, right? So that's some of the learnings I'm going to share here today. So the the younger, fastest basically tells how many calls have gone, how many leads have come, how many people have actually started investing and so forth. But it's very easy to build this, something that is worth to explore. Second is ChatGPT. So again, how many of you have heard or have used ChatGPT for your MFD business? Would like to see a show of hands, please. This actually is a much better number than CRM. There's a good amount of buzz that AI has been making, and happy to see this. But this is again a very, very simple to use tool, comes at zero cost, and that can really make your life easy. Right?
So, dear friends, there's a photo booth. Photo each.